This is a stimulus update and daily news report. The Senate is finally back in Washington, which means big action is going to be taken. Or is it? I'm going to give the latest updates using articles and the latest video clips, letting you know what is going on with the bipartisan infrastructure package, how the White House responded to the reconciliation bill and what is in it. I'm going to give you Democrats' perspective, Republicans' perspective, what's going on with the fourth stimulus check, and I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a terrific Tuesday. If you appreciate these fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So the FDA is to announce a new warning on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine related to a rare autoimmune disorder. So the FDA is expected to announce a new warning on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine after it's been linked to an immune disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome. So far it's been 100 reports out of 12 million doses given. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Do you know anyone who's taken the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? Will you take it? Do you think this is a small number, 100 out of 12 million? Should you be concerned? Or is just this okay as normal when it comes to vaccines? There's always some disorders that come out of it. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Next, let's talk about how the Senate is bracing for a hell of a fight over Biden's infrastructure plan. We're not in the clear yet. There's still a lot of work to be done, regardless of what these politicians are saying that we're almost there, almost have a deal. I'm going to give you the latest updates of what's going on. First, here is a bigger, broad synopsis of where we're at with the process of going through bipartisan infrastructure package.
I don't want to get bogged down into the weeds here, but this looks like a train wreck that's coming. I mean, I'm sorry. This doesn't look like this is going to go swimmingly. This bipartisan deal, how fragile is it?
It is still fragile, Chuck, and I spent the weekend talking with half a dozen senators and a bunch of aides to try to figure out where they are. They're actually in the process of writing things right now, and that means it's at a very fragile point because suddenly interest groups, people that have something to gain, something to lose, are finding out, hey, is my priority in this? Is it not? So that's what I'm going to be watching the next couple of days.
AFL and CIO in the chamber are going to be on the same page? Normally that helps. Does that help here?
Well, I mean, potentially, yeah. I think we have to see. The Chamber of Commerce is kind of in a different spot than they have been in the past. But I think the bottom line here is Republican and Democratic senators believe, and they're looking to Mitch McConnell to see what he's going to do, whether he's going to say to his caucus, okay, go ahead, or to his conference, it's fine if you vote for it. Now, McConnell's people will dispute that. They say, well, he's just going to stand back and listen. The whole conference will decide. But I think that's a real underlying dynamic here. And I do think the one thing that could save it, Chuck, is if Republicans do decide the better politically the better thing to do is to let this go through, claim victory, and then just beat Democrats up on the big reconciliation package when they get that far.
Not only are we at a fragile stage as of now with the writing process, I feel like the whole thing has been fragile, just on the brink of collapse the entire time. But we still don't know what's in it and exactly how it's going to be paid for. I'm going to give you Democrat and Republican perspectives in a moment. But first, the White House dodges question on size of a Democratic infrastructure bill. So White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked what's going on with the budget reconciliation process and how big is it. How she responded is, I will say that as it relates to the budget reconciliation process, that of course is for members of the Senate to work through what they can all collectively support together to get enough votes. So that means nothing. She completely dodged the question there, and she's probably going to circle back with us later. What this means, though, is that we don't know what's in it. We don't know how it's going to be paid for. We don't know how big, how small, which is still a big issue, especially if someone like Bernie Sanders said that he'd oppose a $3 trillion Democrat-only infrastructure plan since it's much too low, potentially setting up a spending showdown with Joe Manchin. So Bernie Sanders wants it as high as $6 trillion. Joe Manchin wants it as low as possible. So what is this going to mean moving forward? Well, all senators, Democrat senators, need to vote for the reconciliation bill in order for it to pass. If just one senator, including Bernie Sanders or Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, if they say no, then it's not going to happen through reconciliation bill, which gives these senators a lot of power. That means that just one senator could say, I'm not voting for it unless it has this in it, unless it has that in it. And then it's going to cause a lot of problems, which it did with the last third stimulus check package, the American Rescue Plan, which went through the reconciliation process. It was a long, drawn-out, tedious process. It did get done, and Joe Manchin got what he wanted in the end. Bernie Sanders tweeted this yesterday, saying, "In case anyone forgot, we have been going through a global pandemic filled with enormous loss. Does anyone seriously doubt the fact that there is tremendous pain and suffering all throughout this country? We can and we must provide real relief to working people," saying that there needs to be more stuff done, that we're not through the pandemic yet. A lot of people may have suffered. The economy may be on the rise a little bit. Jobs may be coming back, but there's still a lot of people trying to recover from all the damage that was done. We're not in the clear yet. There still needs a lot of work to be done. Now, from the Republicans' perspective, Lindsey Graham, who is a Republican senator from South Carolina, he says the bipartisan infrastructure pay-fors are insufficient, which means this is the way that the package is going to be paid for, which was the biggest issue to begin with. I feel like this should have been done. To begin with, and then they could talk about the numbers. The pay for was the biggest issues between the Democrats and Republicans. Republicans wanted the user fees, where if you have a gas tax, the Democrats wanted higher taxes. Both are red lines for both of them. They said last week or a couple of weeks ago that they figured out a way to pay for it, but now it's not good enough. What Lindsey Graham said yesterday is, "We don't have enough pay-fors. It's not so much not supporting the ones we got, it's just not enough." Meaning that the price of the bill is not going to be enough for whatever pay-fors, however they figure out how they're going to pay for it. It's not going to be enough. And he said members of the bipartisan group will meet Tuesday to further discuss emerging legislation. Still talking about it, still talking about the details, which means we're not there yet. Now, there's not only problems with the Republicans in terms of getting stuff done, also Democrats as well. So Representative Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, says progressives may sink bipartisan infrastructure bill without reconciliation deal. Here's a video clip of her explaining more of what she said.
About the infrastructure and the developing agreement between Democrats and Republicans on infrastructure, the concerns of you and other members of the Progressive Caucus about what is going to happen to efforts to combat climate change in these battles over infrastructure?
Well, I believe that the Progressive Caucus is rather united in the fact that we will not support bipartisan legislation without a reconciliation bill, and one that takes bold and large action on climate, drawing down carbon emissions, but also job creation and increasing equity and resilience for impacted communities, particularly frontline communities. And so we've made that very clear, and that a bipartisan agreement will not pass unless we have a reconciliation bill that also passes. And so that is where we've drawn a strong line, and I believe that Speaker Pelosi, the White House, and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer have taken that threat quite seriously. They know that we fully intend on acting out on that if a reconciliation bill does not come to the floor of the House. And you know, we have there's many different actions that we need in a climate bill for reconciliation, whether it's a civilian climate corps, whether it is increased infrastructure and investment in rail and mass transit, and whether it's also centering frontline Indigenous, Black and Brown and low-income communities that are polluted on and often experience the greatest brunt and will be experiencing the greatest brunt of climate change related infrastructure failures.
Now, if AOC decides not to vote for it and the progressive Democrats don't vote for the big reconciliation bill or the bipartisan package, there is some wiggle room there as long as some Republicans vote for it in the House of Representatives. But if no Republicans vote for it, then the progressives have a lot more power. So we have people like AOC. I mentioned another House representative saying that immigration needs to be in it. Otherwise, they're not voting for it. So you're going to have a lot more representatives stick up and say, hey, I'm not voting for this package unless it has this or it has that, which is going to cause more headaches because more chefs in the kitchen just doesn't work, or cooks in the kitchen, however you want to say it. So the more people who have a say in this, the harder it is to pass because you can't please everybody. So what Democrats are saying is Democrats closing in on deal to unlock massive infrastructure bill. Now this is referring to the reconciliation budget resolution, so many different names. So Senate Democrats say they are close to a deal on budget resolution that will pave the way for them to pass a sweeping multi-trillion-dollar bill later this year. So what's going on is, in order for the bipartisan infrastructure package to pass, there needs to be a budget resolution, reconciliation bill, American Families Plan, Democrat-only bill, whatever you want to call it, Part 2, that needs to go alongside with it. No Democrats are going to vote for the bipartisan unless there's a reconciliation bill. Here is Chuck Schumer talking more about that and saying how there's going to be late nights of working.
On the second track, the Senate Budget Committee is close to finalizing a budget resolution, which will allow the Senate to move forward with the remaining parts of the American Jobs and Families Plan. The Senate must pass the budget resolution and an eventual budget reconciliation bill with or without Republican support. The fact of the matter is, brick and mortar infrastructure is very important, but it's no longer the only type of infrastructure that matters in the 21st century. Human infrastructure, what many might call family support, as our families come under increasing pressure in this modern society. Things like childcare, family leave, education, health care are just as essential to giving our citizens opportunity as building roads and bridges and railways. Both are very important. 21st century investment in broadband internet, the electric grid, and retrofitting our economy to fight climate change in bold ways are just as important as roads and bridges and railways. Recent estimates by the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities predict that more than 4 million children, 4 million children, will be lifted out of poverty.
Let me know down in the comments below, do you think something is actually going to be done, or is this going to be drawn out till 2022 and nothing will be done because Congress just can't make up their minds and get together? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Next, let's talk about a fourth stimulus check update, possible amount, status, and latest news. This came out 15 hours ago. So will a fourth stimulus check happen? Here's what we know so far. So basically, the fourth stimulus check proposals, we have two of them, $2,000 per month in the House, $2,000 per month in the Senate. Just to give you perspective of how much it would cost, the last third stimulus check of $1,400 cost around $400 billion. Now, the Democrats want a multi-trillion-dollar reconciliation bill, which is where the fourth stimulus check would be in if there is a fourth stimulus check. As of now, we don't know what's in the reconciliation bill. They're being very hush-hush about that, saying that they're getting all the details together. So if a fourth stimulus check is included in that, it might be a one-time payment. It might be more targeted. As of now, we still don't know where the president stands. According to White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she said the president is certainly open to a range of ideas when asked about a fourth stimulus check. So he's open to it. We don't know if it's going to be included or not. I'll give you the latest updates when it comes out on that. Next, let's talk about how two judges in two states ruled $300 unemployment benefits must be paid. So in Indiana and Maryland, there's been a lot of drama going on. Now there's more states that are starting to have lawsuits. We have Oklahoma now, there's Texas, there's Ohio. So a couple of these states have filed lawsuits. Indiana filed it, and in Indiana, in Maryland, Baltimore judge is to announce decision on unemployment benefits lawsuit on Tuesday, which is today. There was a temporary movement where it said they are going to have to pay the $300 per week, but it's going to be finally decided, the final decision on Tuesday today. And then in Oklahoma, woman files lawsuit over Oklahoma's decision to end extra federal unemployment benefits. So there's been about 27 states that have canceled the unemployment benefits. Most likely we're going to see a lot more lawsuits coming over the next few weeks, especially before the September 6th expiration. Next, let's talk about the child tax credit. Just quick reminder, it's coming out. It's coming out on the 15th, and if you're getting a direct deposit with it, you should see a pending deposit in your account as of now, a few days before, which is the 15th. Let me know down in the comments below if you see a pending deposit for the $300 per kid or $250 per kid. Going to be different amounts for everyone's family, but let me know if you see that in your account pending. And I also got some reports saying that a lot of people were notified they're going to get paper checks. What they said is that 80% of people who should expect direct deposits are going to get direct deposits. 20% will get paper checks, regardless of how you got any of the third stimulus checks or any other checks in the past. So next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. William Barnhart asks, hi there, I keep hearing about the internet credit checks. I live in a motel which includes internet. Am I included in the credit? Can I receive the $50 or $200 too? Thanks. So basically, for that, if your internet is included, it would have to be up to the motel, and most likely, since the motel is a business, they probably wouldn't qualify. So unfortunately, if internet is included, you wouldn't be qualified for that $400 credit. Next question comes from Stephanie Walker. Yes, they want us to work 40 hours a week. Why aren't they? Referring to Congress, how they're just constantly out on vacation. Technically, it's a work period where they should be working, but I don't know how much is actually getting done. In regards to getting the infrastructure package reconciliation bill, rather than going out to their districts, they should be working on that. Next question, Daniel Meekin says, what benefit programs that you got can you claim without children? Could you allow me to get the information? Thank you. So yeah, in the last video, I spoke about all these programs that you could take advantage of, that even if you don't have kids, even if you don't have a family, you can still take advantage of. One of them being the Earned Income Tax Credit. So if you make less than $21,000, you could get, I think it's up to $1,500 in a credit there. Yeah, check out that video. I go over more details of all the different programs that you could take advantage of. And that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here is my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Bye. And hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. That's just my sister clip, but now we're doing my clip. So what I'm talking about now is to you, like when someone's hurt, you should definitely help them, because that if it's like really bad, then you should actually help them. Like I helped a couple of my friends and they loved it. So that's what I want to say for today. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching up until this point. So this week is a crazy week for me because my daughter Bella has a wakeboarding camp, and it's actually the very first week for my daughter Kalea, who just turned 3, to go to her own camp. She wanted to go to camp too, so it's more like a kind of like a preschool camp, and they're actually in opposite directions, like 30 minutes. So yesterday I couldn't do a video because I thought if I dropped both of them off, I could come back and do a video really quick. It just didn't work out. So today I had to wake up at 4:30 because my wife is working a 24-hour shift. She's a nurse. She works a lot, like 50, 60 hours a week. So yeah, this was I had to wake up extra early to do this update, and then hopefully I could get all the kids to their camps on time. So yeah, it's all on me. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other updates, you could click this link up here or this link down over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.